This October, I went to Frankfurt Book Fair for the first time. It's basically the book industry's answer to Paris Fashion Week, like the biggest event in the publishing calendar. We're looking at 275,000 people from 132 countries coming under one big tabernacle, all in the name of making books happen. I'm here to find out why. In the age of email, ebooks, online business, and, the telephone, all these people find it downright necessary to drag the world to this one building in Germany every year. I'll be chatting to BBC Culture, agents, authors, journalists, but first, I've got to find my way out of the airport. So, we just arrived in Frankfurt. Books. Hey, there's some friends that we recognise. Hey guys. I want a really weird cow. Seem to be trapped in a vortex of capitalism. I don't know where we're going, but there seems to be a lot of things on sale. BRB spending 5 years on escalator. Then it was off to the hotel for a wee kip, ready and fresh for Frankfurt madness. So we've just arrived in the building of London Book Fair, but why do I get the feeling that is only the beginning of the journey? Which is here. And currently, don't mean to panic you, we're here. It was huge. It was something of a Victorian Great Exhibition, or what I imagine the Triwizard Tournament would look like if they were less about the bludgers and more about the books. Countries and camps of book disciples on every floor. Der Gruffalo, although not our stand, unfortunately. Naomi, this looks quite recognisable. I would almost say it's where we came in. Follow the signs. Follow the signs. Was signs ist das? So far, Frankfurt Book Fair seems to be like if London Book Fair and Disney World and Summer in the City all had a huge, oversized, overfed child. It's alright, Naomi's prepared for her talk. Oh my god, we found hall 6.
Welcome to Frankfurt!
Naomi, can you see the little red sign of glory? I think we've made it to the mothership. We found it quite stressful finding the stand. Is that normal, or are we particularly stupid?
That is so normal. I've been coming here for 22 years and I still get lost. It's really, really massive. It's like 11 football stands all kind of like linked together with strange walkways. It's sort of like a parallel universe.
On contact with the Pan Mac team, I'm presented with a survival kit, which seems to solely consist of hangover cures, lemon and ginger tea, Dettol wipes. What are they for, Naomi? Dissolvable aspirin.
Morocco again for the hangovers.
This all just seems to be a hangover kit, Naomi. And now I know why you seem so chirpy. More wet ones. Paracetamol, plasters. What's going to happen? Is this like sports day? Safety pins for when you rip your trousers. Nobody wants to see that. And more wet ones. I've stole a few moments with some old friends, one of them being my very first boss in publishing, Philip Cotterell. He's been in publishing since he was about 17 and he's been coming to Frankfurt Book Fair for decades, so he must have some interesting things to say, right?
I first came to Frankfurt in the late 70s, and when I walked in the first time, I was just in awe of what Frankfurt was all about. The great thing about publishing is taking authors' ideas, coming to a place like this, and really they back your hunch by saying, hey, that was a great idea, I'd like to buy some of those. That's a great idea, I'd like to buy the rights of that for, it might be Turkey, it might be a US, whatever it's going to be. And what floats my boat after all these years is that when, it doesn't matter how many times you come, something happens for the first time. You always get that kind of frisson of excitement, your hair stands on the back of your neck. When somebody comes on the stand with a good idea, somebody comes on the stand with a bit of information, the great thing about Frankfurt is when you arrive, you're going to go away with something you never thought you would have gone away with when you first arrived. Someone could come onto this stand like in 5 minutes' time and make my fair. That's what it's all about. Frankfurt, make my fair. It's been happening for 40 years and it's going to happen for the next 40 years.
Then I caught up with Tom from the Bookseller. The Bookseller is basically our industry magazine. It's brilliant. So hi, Tom.
Hi, Tom.
You're supposed to say hi, Tom from the Bookseller.
Hi, Tom from the Bookseller.
My favourite question to ask people at the book fair is, what are you doing here? Why have you done this to yourself?
I'm here for the hot stories, the gossip, all the thing that's fit to print.
Have you found any good gossip yet?
Oh, there's tons of gossip.
Oh, you can't tell me, can you?
No. You have to read it in the Bookseller. What are you doing here then?
I'm making a vlogumentary, which is a word that I might have just made up and then told you, and you've written down your very official notebook. Yeah. But I'm pretty sure it is a word. I just want to show people what Frankfurt's, what's happening here, which I'm not sure about yet. But it seems to be like lots of important people are saying important things.
Yeah.
Would you say that's accurate?
Yes. A lot of important people say unimportant things as well at these fairs, but that's the nature of the beast.
And your job is to filter that out.
Yeah, and make it sound
I suppose.
important.
Sometimes people are like, oh, the digital age, we don't know what
Yeah,
we're doing, but I think everyone's quite confident this year.
Oh, everyone loves
well.
the digital age, don't they?
They love saying it,
Yeah.
they love talking about
Yeah.
it, they love finding papers on it.
I'll tell you gossip if you show me all the stuff unedited stuff that you're not going to show on the YouTube site.
I'll take the camera out tonight and we'll see if we can swap secrets.
Excellent.
Right, I've been let loose by Naomi, I'm going to try and find some old pals.
Oh, hey!
Hello, Leena. Hello. All right, thank you. Yes, a bit wiped out.
Okay, we've braved the outdoors to see if we can find some people from BBC Culture to interview. I have found a red carpet though, which is quite exciting.
Matt, how did you find yourself here? What are you doing here?
So we're here this week recording 4 interviews in this stage, the reading tent. So we've had interviews with Charlotte Roche, Isabel Allende, Ken Follett and Eka Kurniavan.
What do you find interesting about the book industry? Do you think it's different from other industries?
Well, it's very different from film. It's much more accessible than film. In film, everything is locked down, and you've got to go through the PRs and everything. It's the same really with the visual arts and that sort of thing. Books is a lot more accessible, I think. You can get more easily to talk to the authors. The PR people involved are much more forthcoming and accommodating. And at an event like this, you can get a lot more people in the room at one time. Like, you don't have any equivalent of this in the movie industry or in the arts or in theatre or anything like that. People say, print is dead or whatever. It's just some sort of easy cliche, but I think if you have a look at, go into Hall 8 or go into Hall 5 and see all of those thousands of books, I think you would be mad to say that print is dead or that the book industry is dead. There's nothing else really like it in terms of having so many people gathered from all around the world in the one spot, and that's the scale of the thing really, is the thing that
It shows
passes
a
me
healthy
the most.
industry, doesn't it?
Exactly.
If it was relaxing, you'd be worried.
Well, exactly.
I met some really nice indie authors. So many books.
My name's Liz and I'm from Book Art Studios in New Zealand.
You've come the whole way from New Zealand. How long did that take you?
30 hours. My fear was I was going to come from New Zealand, I was going to look a bit hokey and crafty, and that has not been the response. Everyone's so lovely and helpful, and if you talk to someone and even if they can't accommodate you or help you, they often will tell you who to go and talk to. And people are coming in
It's
and
really welcoming. Because you're
feeling
opposite,
everything.
you're opposite Perseus. Everyone's together. It's not
know.
from the small to the big.
And then I found a dun agent. What are agents doing here? Julia Kingsford, agent extraordinaire, was on hand to help me out.
I have the wonderful advantage of the fact that I've got somebody who buys and sells rights for us. So the fantastic ILA do our foreign rights sales. So they are working upstairs in the rights centre selling our rights for us. I get to have a more floating capacity where I get to wander around, see people, catch up with people, be incredibly enthusiastic about our books, all in the knowledge that there is people who are genuinely good at what they do, being the really safe set of hands selling rights. They're attached to tables all day, every day, generating huge quantities of revenue for this industry, and that's just the heart and soul of what we do. But then there's all that chance in the periphery around it to have creative conversations, to catch up with people you don't normally see, people globally, as well as always, obviously, the funny thing of you work a couple of miles away from people, but you only ever see them at book fairs. And to see, how fantastic publishing is, and how full of creative, imaginative, enthusiastic, passionate, good business people is.
I touched base with some of the reception team to see how they were holding up.
I arrived today, so I've been straight on the floor and sort of sorting out appointments and things.
Yeah.
But I hope so.
It's exciting to see all the other publishing houses as
Definitely,
well,
We've got Random House just opposite us, 2 massive stands. So I'll definitely be having a little sneak around today and tomorrow. And hopefully swapping some proofs.
So we're off to see Naomi speaking at a conference.
I know, it's very important. She's like a real adult.
I know, we're her fans.
She's got to represent the red waves.
Yes,
the red waves of
absolutely.
glory.
The red
from
waves
Macmillan.
of glory.
It's all about the intimacy. That's what Frankfurt's
That's
about.
what it's all about.
It's like
all
rubbing
about
noses with everybody else.
The chat.
It's the chat. Because you were telling me
kisses,
that
the big air
most
kisses.
of the most important conversations happen between the stands,
in the corridors,
in the cracks. So
like
a lot of the
this one.
stuff is supposed to happen on the tables, but actually you think
Nothing
it
happens on the
in
tables,
the pubs,
let me tell
in the
you.
toilets. That's when the real deals happen.
Exactly.
Then it was off to see our very own Naomi, who is bringing the good news of BookTube to the world.
A series of 3 Hug the Alien sessions. The aliens being outfits, people, activities, directions that we're not all completely familiar with. And that once we learn a little bit more about, we feel pretty good about, and we'd like to hug.
And lucky for us, there's an entire community dedicated to literature, the wonderful world of BookTube.
Book break inception! So we just had Naomi's talk. Wasn't she good? But now I'm nursing what could be the most sickeningly stereotypical book fair injury of all time, which is a paper cut. Can you believe it?
I'm a book trade journalist. I've been writing about the industry for nearly 30 years now. In fact, it feels like I've been writing about the industry since the dawn of time.
Have you met Gutenberg himself?
He's still cool.
Yeah,
he should have his own
about.
YouTube channel. My favourite thing about Frankfurt is the people. Absolutely the people. It's like a massive catch-up session with anybody you've ever worked with in the industry. That's why in the age of Skype and all the rest of it, people still like to get together. It's about that intangible thing, about ideas, story, emotion, love, hate, all the things that have driven mankind from the very beginning. That sounds pretentious, but really that's what's overriding everything that's going on here. And it's a great celebration of imagination and creativity. The industry is in fact both very, very different now, but exactly the same.
Yeah.
Because, as I say, it's all driven by story and idea and content. Now that may now be delivered via YouTube or digitally, but essentially it's the same thing.
Do you have any good tips for me surviving Frankfurt?
Keep hydrated. That's what you always
It's a
hear.
sport, isn't
but that's
it,
slightly
almost?
neurotic. I think keep open and positive, and receptive, and
Stay nosy.
Stay very nosy, and go where your nose takes you.
So I just went to visit Atlantic Books and they gave me some cake. So I quite like them now. Guess what? Lost again. Plot twist though, got a map this time. Probably not going to help. Let's go and see if any of these delightful German people will serve me a beer. Gordon Ramsay.
What, this is a romantic novel or what?
Was not Gordon Ramsay, disappointed. 2 roads diverged in the Yellowwood, and sorry I could not travel both, but be one travel along I stood down one as far I could until I swept into the middle of Frankfurt Book Fair. It's not the time for poetry, Leena, you are so lost.
Okay, so I appear to be in an island. Not good. Not good. Jamie thinks me being lost is hilarious.
All too soon, it was home time. Okay guys, we're on the mass exodus from Frankfurt. It's frankly appalling.
What's the worst thing about Frankfurt? The worst
Leaving.
thing. Leaving is
Passing
the
is
worst
such
thing.
sweet sorrow.
But not before we'd feasted with some of the export and distribution experts and did what publishers do best. Think and drink. Think and drink. Sugar glass, go on. Going to Frankfurt Book Fair was a bit like an education in iceberg publishing. Below the simple swish and flick of page over page and story and author, there's a world of often invisible publishing wizards and witches, chanting incantations, poring over long spreadsheets, calculating, printing, distributing, carefully measuring spines, counting copies, switching ideas and foraging for new ones, making sure we get the best books at the best time, with the best cover, and most importantly, that we know about them at all. What struck me most were these great book brains' enthusiasm to be near each other, to swap ideas without reserve, to collaborate more than compete, to recognise that a book sale for one is a win for all. This isn't just a market to be cornered. One great book can make a book lover, and more book lovers can create a bigger market for all. And it wasn't all about the selling, but more about making sure these books come into being at all. I left Frankfurt Book Fair energised, inspired, a little tiddly, and thank goodness, absolutely sure that this industry was home. To the naysayers that tell us print is dead, I've got some news. The books aren't going anywhere.
Everyone's so serious.
Seems to be a lot of eligible straight men here. I don't think this is publishing.